Pastor Ed here with Daily Devotions for Friday, September the 15th, 2023. Our scripture reading today is taken from the book of Exodus, chapter 4, verses 10 through 16. It's the call of Moses and how Moses responds to God's call to him to lead the people from slavery in Egypt. Again, beginning in verse 10, "But Moses said to the Lord, 'O my Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor even now that you've spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue.' And then the Lord said to him, 'Who gives speech to mortals? Who makes them mute or deaf, seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, and I will be with your mouth, and teach you what you're to speak.' But he said, 'O my Lord, please send someone else.' And then the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses, and he said, 'What of your brother Aaron the Levite? I know that he can speak fluently. Even now he's coming out to meet you, and when he sees you, his heart will be glad. You shall speak to him, and put the words in his mouth, and I will be with your mouth and with his mouth, and will teach you what you shall do. He indeed shall speak for you to the people. He shall serve as a mouth for you, and you shall serve as a God for him.'" In Act 1, Scene 3 of Shakespeare's Hamlet, Polonius says this above all, "To thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man." So far in our Life Keys series of devotions, we've looked at life gifts and spiritual gifts, natural talents and abilities given to us by God to enable us to live and work in the world as well as to live and work in the church. Well, today we're going to go beyond those unique talents and abilities, however, and take a closer look at who we really are deep down. In other words, our personalities. To thine own self be true. In that reading, Moses is being approached by God with the call to go and free the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. Born of a Hebrew slave but raised in a palace by the Pharaoh's daughter, Moses had fled to the desert after he had killed an Egyptian who was beating a fellow Hebrew. And here in the desert, God appears to Moses in the burning bush and makes an outlandish request. "Come, I will send you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." And if you remember the story, Moses then responded immediately with a couple of excuses. "What if the Israelites ask me for your name?" he said. And what if they don't believe me or listen to me? And when God provided adequate answers to both of those objections, Moses tried once again. In our reading today, Moses said to God, "I've never been eloquent, neither in the past or even now, but I'm slow of speech and tongue." Moses knows himself. He has a good sense of self-awareness, and he knows that he is not necessarily a natural leader, for he lacks the ability to inspire or influence others by his words. Send someone else, Moses pleads. God, of course, is not dissuaded. He tells Moses that he'll send Aaron with Moses. Aaron, Moses' brother, is eloquent and well-spoken. And just as God will give Moses the words to say, Moses will simply give them in turn to Aaron, and Aaron will therefore be Moses' spokesman. But God still wants Moses to be his leader. Now, there's two reasons why I chose this passage for today. First, it highlights the fact that we each have different personalities in addition to our life and spiritual gifts. We've all known people like Moses, people who are not comfortable speaking in public, people who are not very self-assured or assertive, individuals who would be the last people we would expect to emerge as leaders. But there's a second reason why I chose this passage as well, and that's to remind us up front that identifying personality types, however insightful they may be in helping us to understand ourselves and others, does not constitute the final word. Certain personalities may naturally gravitate towards certain jobs or careers or life situations, but there are plenty of exceptions to the rules. In fact, the Bible demonstrates over and over again how often God breaks those rules. And so while understanding our personality may help us to find our way in life, it's only one piece of the puzzle. And we should never let our personality type keep us from doing what we really feel passionate about or called to do, because God certainly won't. Well, having said this, however, understanding who we are can actually be beneficial, because we each relate and respond to the world in different ways. Understanding those ways then can help us find our proper place in the world. Life key number 4 is, if you know yourself, you can find your God-given place. In other words, to thine own self be true. To help us understand our unique God-given personalities, the authors of Life Keys use what is called the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or MBTI, which is based on the theories of Swiss psychiatrist and psychologist Carl Jung. And if you're interested in more, you can Google, go online and look for Myers-Briggs MBTI. Well, Carl Jung, the son of a minister, was intensely interested in spiritual matters. A sign over the door of his boyhood home proclaimed, "Seek him or not, God is there." Jung saw personality type as a tool through which we can better understand ourselves and therefore deepen that spiritual part of us. And he theorized that our behavior is far from random. From carefully observing others, he saw certain behavioral patterns emerge that pointed to inherent preferences, which is to say that he believed that we each have certain preferences for how we approach life. That is, how we are energized, how we take in information, how we make decisions, and how we orient our lives. And while we can use any of the preferences, we prefer the ones that are most natural for us. Well, we're going to stop there today. In fact, in the next several days, we're going to kind of unpack this a little bit more and talk a little bit more about personality types. Hope you have a great day today, and we're looking forward to continuing this conversation with you tomorrow. Until then, take care. Bye.